Hello everyone. Today we are starting a new playlist of videos in which we'll try to solve Advent of Code 2019, this time using Open Assistant. Open Assistant just released their chat demo chat version. A little bit background for Open Assistant. The Open Assistant, it's completely open source pipeline for collecting training data for large language models. As you can see at the moment, the project is for simply collecting data made by users. For example, you can go and reply as an assistant. Here it's an input of another user, and you can reply as an assistant. After that, you can not reply like assistant. You can classify replies, if they're good, if they're helpful, how creative they are, and scoring them based on the question that the user already asked, that are answered by other people, and rated by different people. You can reply as a user, you can rate multiple answers, and you can classify user's input prompter. That means that you're playing the role of initially asking a question. Reply as a user, it's simply answering after someone asks something, and the algorithm gives some answer. You can continue the conversation. And simply very cool project collecting data, which will be pretty soon released for open source usages, including commercial usages. If you want to help with collecting more data, please join Open Assistant. It's on openassistant.io, and you can log in with Google or Discord. Everything is free. There's nothing connected to payment or anything, or all of the data that's being collected will be freely available for commercial usages, as far as I can see from the project description. And also you can go to GitHub Open Assistant page. If you don't trust me, here is the whole code bases with the description of the project, the data structure, roadmap, and you can actually have it running on your local machine, including the backend, the prompt, everything. It's open source, and as you can see, a lot of people are working on the project. It's getting more and more friction, and you can see the license is Apache license. It's open source. Don't take my words for granted. However, that's simply a background. What kind of tool we'll use? Currently, Open Assistant had a demo version of the chat in which we will try to do some try to solve Advent of Code 2019 using this demo version. As you can see, so far I've simply just tried. I simply tried that it's working with some hello arrow reversing a string, and you can see my conversation. I simply I wanted to double check that it can write a Go program, and if it can optimize it, etc. We have answers similar to ChatGPT and so on. We can rate. the answers. However, so on top of that, we can play a little bit with the temperature and so on, penalty on repetition, maximal token size, and so on. More dev-friendly UI, and amazing the way that we can see actually the questions, the answers. In my opinion, it's structured absolutely in par with ChatGPT. That's for our background. Let's go back to what we're planning to do. I already did Advent of Code 2021 with ChatGPT, Bing, and some other models, and I was able, let me go back to the events, I was able to solve a lot of them up to the day 17 of them. That's Advent of Code 2021. After that, I have problems with 18, 19, 20. I was with a lot of struggles for and being able only to solve day 21 and 22, only the first part, because it was easily solvable without optimized code. And I already did that in Go. As you can see of my code, it's absolutely available. You can go in the main file, see the solution, etc. Everything is staying there. I'm planning to do Advent of Code 2019, this time using Open Assistant, and I'm wondering, should I use Go, because so far I've been using Go as a language in which I'm solving Advent of Code. I did it myself 2022 and 2020. As you can see, that was done after that, simply to learn Go, and I have some experience. However, I'm professionally developer with Elixir, and doing some other stuff. I will continue doing it in Go, simply to have a clear line of comparison between performance of GPT-4, Open Assistant, and having probably some problems that are solvable by the two, and trying the approaches and to see if that will be working. I will simply structure the projects in very similar way that I was already doing it, and they're split it on day and part as a separate folders, because it was easy for me to run the project. Probably before to do day one, I will take a look again of some other people that solve different years of Go programs, and think if they simply structure it to one file and what they did for debugging and so on. That's the introduction of this series. Probably the last point that I want to make is, as you can see here, I haven't tried 2019. I haven't even read the description of any problem, or clicking even more than opening it like that, simply to see the days. I've never clicked on the day, and I have no idea. The purpose of that is, I think if I already have solved the problems in other programming language, or did it myself and so on, I will be very familiar with the problems, and actually will not represent realistic presentation of the abilities of these chatbots, and what can be done when the person has no idea about the problem and hasn't used the chatbot, as in the case of Open Assistant, before that, more than prompting it a few times. And I think that's more realistic comparison firstly, and it's a testing case to show if really the chat assistant is capable of what is capable, and how much can be used by a person that is not familiar with the problem, but it's not completely. Here the point of these videos, if you haven't seen my ChatGPT video playlist in YouTube, you can check it. The point is not to expect that the chatbot will solve the problem from the first time and simply copying and pasting the code and will always work. In a lot of cases, including with GPT-4, there have been constantly things that need to be fixed, like how it's reading the input, parsing the input, making frequently mistakes with splitting the new lines, splitting by comma when should split by new lines, and the other part of that is, in most of the cases I was trying to figure it out what would be good strategy whenever we encounter such kind of problems, how we can go with and try to find solution. The initial naive idea that you can give feedback to the algorithm, at least in the case of the model. I shouldn't use exactly the word algorithm, but to these language models. My initial idea was every time when I encounter a mistake, I can say, okay, split it by comma and so on. And in specific cases, that was working. However, when the problems became more complicated, this strategy turned out to be not effective, and simply asking for a completely new solution frequently was more efficient approach, and things like that. We have already did a lot of these prompting techniques and so on in my previous videos, and the purpose of this one will be to explore the same kind of things, this time with main focus Open Assistant. I hope that you're excited and hope to see you in day one. Have a nice one.